You know how I feel. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Ooh, ooh, ooh. You know how I feel. You know how I feel. Ooh, ooh, ooh. You know how I feel. You know how I feel. Ooh, ooh, ooh.
right, there we go. Hey, everybody. It's me. And let's see. Did I not do something right? There we go. Okay, cool. Welcome to class, and I am trying something a little bit different tonight. I am doing, hey, I think that's Anastasia. Hey, Anastasia. But I'm lowering the lights a little bit tonight just to see, hey, Lindsay, what it will do. So if you think that like it's hard, if it's like looks worse than usual or something like that, then let me know. If you can't make a class ever, I've been pretty good about putting up the higher quality replays the next day, and so you can find those replays on my YouTube at HoopPath Backs. Most of you are starting to watch on YouTube, which is cool. If you are watching on Facebook, I love it when you say hey, but Facebook is really like more of a visibility stream. The better streams are definitely on Twitch and on YouTube. My next class will be Thursday. And then I had some questions about the jam. I haven't checked in with you guys in a while about the jam. I just threw one out there on Friday night. But I'm interested in, if you guys would think it would be better if we just did like we always committed to chill music on Sundays, or if you like the variety or whatever. Just looking for some feedback there. And because I'm cool doing either. Yesterday's was a little bit more upbeat, and then the one before was, and if you just like the variation, too, that's cool as well. So I've been wanting to do a kind of a Maidan class forever now, and I've been waiting to do it when I got to a point where I thought that the technology and stuff wouldn't distract me. And then I just realized this morning that, like, I don't think that's ever going to come. I think it's just the nature of this. And so I just thought, I really want to start opening myself back up to that spirit of teaching and that way of teaching. And if you're watching me for the very first time, or if this is the first time you've ever taken a class with me, this may not be the best class to start on, because I don't have time to explain the whole thing of the Maidan to you. And there are other classes you can actually Google or look up on YouTube. Maybe I'll put them in the link to the comments later, of classes where I talk about it a little bit more. But essentially, I grew up in the church, which just means that I grew up with sort of a religious doctrine. And in that doctrine, people use stories all the time. And the stories are meant to carry, like, they're parables, and they're meant to carry messages and spirits. And you never really, like, it's the story is what it is, and you don't really, like, ask, well, whatever happened to that person after the parable? Because the parable sort of finishes and completes itself the moment you get the gist of it. And so with the Maidan, some people think that I have all of this stuff like really well thought out and super written down, and have all their character arcs and all of that. And that's not the case for me. Like, these are sort of living parables that I use in my my teaching, and I teach them, and these characters and stuff, the Maidan themselves, they emerge from my practice, and not everyone relates to them, and my life has changed, where I never really liked Kaya the warrior, and then she became my favorite. I didn't understand Ana, and then she became one of my favorites. And so if you know these characters, you just sort of flow from, or I can like have a different relationship with them. And I can have that relationship without knowing like a whole lot about them, right? Because just in that moment, like most of the times when we interact with human beings, we're interacting with them in that moment. Like it would probably help us if we knew what their history, what their origin story was, or if we knew where their plot was going, but we don't. And so when I tell these stories, or when I talk about them, sometimes they're like moments like that. They're like you're passing a Maidan on some path, and she's going to sway with you, talk to you, dance with you, or whatever she wants to do, or whatever y'all want to do. And that's the story. So tonight, I just want to invoke more of the spirit of what I'm talking about through different exercises, and we'll be doing mostly just a sort of flow-based class. So, sweet. I'm not too far back on my time here. As always, I'm joined by Sheila. Oh, I just realized I don't really have a... Okay. Lots of cameras. Okay, we're going to get going. Okay, here we go. Oh. Okay, as always, let me know if the sound is okay, if the mic is okay. I have watched enough video now to know that I still have some mic issues I'm trying to figure out, but let me know if it's loud enough and how it's sounding to you. All right. Tonight we're going to start off with something called a quiet sway. And it's a listening exercise. In the story of the Maidan, my character that I identifies with, his name is GianCarlo. And his father passes away in the service of the Maidan as he was part of a rescue group that went to rescue a particular Maidan. Because of his effort, they saved the Maidan. And they brought her back. But they also brought back with them the news that Gianmarco, the father of GianCarlo, had been taken. And so the Maidan agreed that they would help to raise GianCarlo. And to help his mother. They worried about a rift developing between GianCarlo and the Maidan that his father had rescued, or helped to rescue, and her name was Jula. GianCarlo and Jula were roughly the same age. So to help a rift from developing, the Maidan decided that they would raise them as brothers and sisters. And to help them connect as children, they would take them out and they would have them do silent sways. Audible breath in. Tonight, in the spirit of that story of future peacefulness, we're going to silent sway for about 2 minutes. And it can seem like a very long time if you haven't done it before. And it can seem like a very short time if you have. Audible breath in. Audible breath in. Audible breath in. As the Maidan were raising GianCarlo, they could feel his energy shift by the people he was around, by the faces that he would make. And they would begin to realize that GianCarlo could feel, that he could hear. And he could hear from people on this side of the veil who hadn't spoken, and he could hear from people on the other side of the veil. And that as a young child, he was overwhelmed by this. And so the Maidan taught him to focus, to help calm his mind, so that he could know the difference between feeling someone else's sadness and feeling his own. Of feeling someone else's worry and feeling his own. And to help him do that, they would play a flute for him. And they would ask him to move with the wind and to feel the flute. Audible breath in. Audible breath in. If the Maidan were here, they would be saying the same to you. To channel only the noise the flute is making. To pull in on the noise, the music. Audible breath in. Audible breath in. If you ever feel overwhelmed by the emotions of others, and you've felt as he did, audible breath in. Come home to your feelings. The flute pulling you back to your energy. What is you? Audible breath in. Audible breath in. Just you in there right now. Your energy is dilating. Some of you might have to listen really hard to hear yours. Audible breath in. All right. Okay. See if I have this one still. Yeah, sweet. Okay. We're going to move into our hoops if you're ready. As soon as I find mine. Yeah, I think this is mine. Okay, I'm assuming everything is cool because nobody is commenting. Usually that's a good sign. Okay. Back to my boy, GianCarlo. Maidan taught GianCarlo and every other Maidan to help connect with themselves was to move with the hoop. They saw the shape as that of the sun. They saw the rhythm of it as the cycle of seasons. It was an embodied metaphor, and one that in the practice of, they could come home. Maidan thought of hooping, the hoop practice, like dipping your arm or your leg into a running stream, that it left a ripple, that to pick up the hoop or to move, to sway, to stretch, to open, was to connect. Audible breath in. To get the most out of their movement, they taught GianCarlo to be open for all connection and even the unexpected. They encouraged him not to hunt a feeling, but to sit and feel them pass over him. Audible breath in. Through connection, energy flows. Through connection, energy flows. When things feel stale to us, the first thing we should do is check that connection. Audible breath in. Yeah. Okay. Oh, hey, Bonnie. Okay, so let me know. Not getting comments, usually that's a good sign, but if something's wrong, let me know. Oops. Okay. I want to do one thing. There we go. Okay. All right. So one of the things about GianCarlo, everything is great, sweet. One of the things about GianCarlo, and the Maidan didn't believe that he had any gift that anyone else didn't have. They just believed that he had it in spades. And the Maidan believe that if given an article of clothing of someone, or if in front of perhaps like the father and mother of someone, that if they had crossed the veil, that he could be with them. And when he was with them, he wouldn't talk like them or speak for them. But the people that knew whom he was making contact with, they immediately felt that energy. They saw it in little GianCarlo's eyes. And most of the time, they would just want to hug him so that they could be closer to that loved one that they missed. And then one day, GianCarlo was out with his hoop, and he was holding it this way, and he could feel the wind coming up. And he said to himself, I miss my father. Why won't my father come visit me? You know, his father that has passed away. And in that moment, the wind picks up, and GianCarlo hears his mom telling him the stories of his father. And even though he can't remember his father at all, he feels a warmth. Our next exercise is about connecting. I miss my grandmother. I could channel, try to be next to her. And if the story seems gloomy, it's actually very happy for GianCarlo. Because he really realized when he made visits with his dad that he was happy there. It was sad that he wasn't in this world, but in that world, he was happy. Who does your Maidan connect with right now? Living or dead, with us or not. Who do you joyfully want to connect and become? technique for each exercise tonight is yours. The connection you feel is directed and driven by you. Open, 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 open. Oh, I feel you. Oh, okay. Sorry. Okay. Okay, maybe you guys, maybe I, oh no, did you miss the whole story about GianCarlo? Well, essentially, I'm guessing maybe I didn't have the mic on for that entire story. Oh no. Okay. Essentially, the story is this. GianCarlo's father was super famous for being brave. He was an accomplished warrior. He died young, so the villagers and GianCarlo thought of him as perfect. And yet GianCarlo would get sad when he thought of his dad because his dad was all these wonderful things and he was none of those things. And then one day when he was out connecting with his father from beyond in the way that we just did, out of nowhere, GianCarlo's hand gripped the hoop. It freaked GianCarlo out. He thought of his dad, and then the next thing he knows, his other hand pushed out and grabbed the hoop. He thought of his dad. He saw his dad smile, and his hand reached out and grabbed the hoop. So GianCarlo began to imagine that he was behind the eyes of his father, that his father's hands were moving through him. And it was the first time GianCarlo felt connected to the strengths of his father. Do this exercise just as GianCarlo would. You can imagine someone you admire, and now let them take over the wheel. Let them drive. Feel what that quality feels like. That is the end of that song. Okay. Okay, cool. All right. Maybe something. Oh, maybe my mic just went out, actually. I don't know. That would be weird. Okay. All right. I'm going to keep the energy going a little bit here. Sweet, Jen's here. Okay. For our next exercise, GianCarlo was afraid of the dark. Every time darkness would come, he was afraid. And he would want to hang out with the adults as late as he could because he didn't want to go upstairs and be terrified. But the Maidan knew that they were going to have to teach him to become familiar with the dark. And so they blindfolded GianCarlo. They took him out into a night deep in the woods. And they said, GianCarlo, we're here with you. Will you feel for us? He closed his eyes underneath the blindfold, and he could feel their heart energy very easily. And they began to sing to him. And they slowly walked away. And he could hear them walking away, but he could still feel them very close to him. And the further they got away, the less he could hear them, but he could still feel them in his heart. Audible breath in. This exercise is about finding some comfort in your dark by keeping someone or some energy with you. Who can you no longer hear, but you can still feel? And let them accompany you in your battle with this fear of darkness. Audible breath in. Now, if you really want to step into the story with me, GianCarlo is still kind of freaked out that he's out there in the woods. He knows, he's smart enough to know what's happened. So he gets a little nervous and he starts to move around as fast as he can, turning constantly and losing himself. And then the listening starts. Suddenly GianCarlo can hear every squirrel, every leaf that falls, the sound he's making with his breath, the sound he's making with his hoop. If you want to imagine what he was feeling, then imagine hearing every move you make right now. You hear your arms raising, you hear them lowering, swooshing. If you have the space and you want to do this blindfolded, it's an excellent blindfold exercise. What person, what energy, what singing do you need to hear to bring you comfort? open, open, open. As GianCarlo becomes more familiar with the dark, he becomes less afraid of it. As he becomes less afraid of it, he gets to know it. Sweet. All right. Okay, so yeah, I think it's let's see, where's my camera? Oh, I don't have a camera anymore. Okay, so I think it's free hoop time now. Thank you guys for joining me for this tonight. If you haven't, okay, sweet. I think if you haven't, never mind what I was gonna say. All right. In my whole life, I've done one performance, and this was the performance that I did the song. Sweet. You're welcome, guys. This is the free hoop now. This is the free hoop. Thank you, Carla. I performed in San Francisco, and I performed at the first ever Flow Show a long time ago. Colin organized it and asked me if I'd do it. as always, guys, for joining me. I really appreciate it. We're going to do a couple more songs of Free Hoop. Going a little bit over, but who cares? Misha, Kelly, and those of you that didn't come in, if there were some. Christine, nice to see you. If anyone is still watching, and you can let me know if this low light experiment is any different, let me know. Not so much Sheila, but my cameras, the lower light, let me know what you think, if it looked worse or harder to focus or whatever. This is our second to the last song, I think. Kind of a slow one here. This is definitely the last song of the night. Sorry for that, guys. Last second change.
That once was gold, and you can have my soul.